My name is Max Guo. This is my demo presentation for my final project from Geo 778. Before I go into my application, I'd like to give you a quick design of my project. My goal for this project is to create a end-to-end GIS solution using open source GIS technology that allow user to do front analysis and then have complete access to their data from the backend. My backend is using a Docker cluster with four nodes, one hosting nodes through Nginx, and one node for geospatial database using Postgres database PostGIS, and then one server component node using GeoServer for data publishing. And then my front end is using OpenLayers to consume all the OGC services published from GeoServer. And then I have another QGIS native client to access to the same database being created here to make a more advanced analysis or more editing when needed. Okay, so here are my Docker nodes cluster that's all running right now. Like I said earlier, I have four nodes running. The Nginx will be my hosting server for my application. It's running from localhost 5000. This is where I will access my application later. And then this one is PGME, is really just nice GUI wrap around my database for user to see it. And then this PostGIS Docker is my database hosting node. And then there's another node it's called using GeoServer as access to my database, and then getting published to services to be consumed from my application. Okay, without further ado, this is my final project application. It's Canadian National Capital Region's flood observation system. So every year, the Ottawa-Gatineau region here will face a hazard of spring flood. And then there is lack of a way for citizens to report their flood observation. So I designed this application just to hopefully will stimulate some ideas for the city to know how can they address this kind of issues. What you're seeing right now are some of the data coming from City of Ottawa's open data portal, like municipality layer boundaries. Uh, the one you should pay close attention to is the blue region you see here in the middle. So this blue dash um, shadowed region is 100 years Ottawa flood zone. So essentially, those places have a chance of having flood over the past 100 years. And then what blue dots you see here are some of the pre-existing observation data that I mock up. Just to give you an idea what the data look like, I create a schema from database, and then those are the data that published through the GeoServer and consumed from this application. When you go to this application, you can easily retrieve the previous information by clicking on the dots. You can see on the left-hand side, open up the sidebar showing the name of this observation and the contact person, type, media, and then you can actually run some front analysis. For example, for this dot, what you want to see is you want to see the closest hospital. I know it's right here, so if you click on this, you'll see it shows up highlighted. If I pan and zoom, there's an event to clear off the cache, but if I try to run it again, you can see the closest hospital right over there, right? And then, yeah, so along here, there are multiple observations close to the river. For example, click on this one. It tells, okay, so there's a water level high, contact by, report by Peter, and then the types of observation. So obviously those data are all mock-up, doesn't really make too much sense, but a user can essentially put like random information here. Hopefully that give you an idea what kind of information user can put. And then on the bottom right corner, there is the Add New Observation button. So this is when user want to report a new observation. So for example, if I come to this right here, I think I want to, okay, I want to just show you how to see if there's, okay, so there's a hardware store right here. So essentially this is very similar to the hospital. Search, essentially just trying to do a proximity analysis to see what are the features from the hardware store within 3 kilometer range of this. If there are any, it will just display that from the map. Sorry, forgot to mention that earlier. Now it's time for me to show you how to add a new observation from the system. I'm going to zoom out to this location right here. For example, imagine you come to this place, you try to create a new observation. All you have to do is click on the bottom, and then from the name, you just want to put in the name. And then from the contact, I'll just say call Max. And then the type, for this one, I'll probably just put warning. And then choose the media file I like to upload. I'm just going to grab the observation PNG, and then click on observation, and then click on right here, add, and then that's it. So by doing that, it wouldn't really adding this to the map, to the database. What you have to do is click on this apply changes. Then this will issue a post request to the backend and add this one to the map. So I'm going to click on this one, and then I'll have to refresh this to show that. It wouldn't really see that right away. So if I zoom to the location where I had before, now you see it. And then if I click on this, you can see the information I supplied earlier: sample name, call Max, untype warning. And then something else you can do is you can make edit to this. You can do click on enable edits, and then from here you can actually change things up. You can make modification for all the properties with this feature. For example, from the name, I will do name update, and then the contact will be contact update, and then the type will stay as observation, and then I wouldn't make any change for that one. And then I will click on apply edit, and then from here I will click on apply change. Actually, I'll also make change of the location of that. I'll drag a little bit to this way, so you'll see the change. Click on apply change, and if I do a refresh again, if I come back here, yeah, I can see this feature is being moved around to the right hand side. So hopefully this gives you an overview of what application does from the map perspective. But if I try to go to a different location, a different page, go to About. So this one also has additional information for the user. For example, the Auto Flood Observer, the background of this, why do we want to have it? And then user can also click on different links to see about flood. This is from the US NOAA. About flood 101, additional information they need, and then how to cope with floods. This is like from Ontario website, what to do before, during, and after a flood. And then there will be latest flood news from NCR, National Capital Region. If I click on this one, you can see here, this is the news for April 14th, which is yesterday. And then there's a chance of flood coming to this location. And then there are some additional news, basically a severe audible flood case in 2019. You can click on this one.
In just 24 hours, more than 5
YouTube videos to see that previous information case. Before I move away to show you the QGIS side, I forgot to mention there's another front-end analysis tool aside from those two right here, is to do a quick search for how many observations you can have for a certain region. For example, right here, right now, if I do the search, it will tell me there are 4 observations from this search. The technology behind it is really by using intersect and then do a feature counts on the feature that intersect with the drawing polygon and then display that information to you. Okay, so here is another quick look at the native client like QGIS. I mentioned at the beginning of my drawing, user can come to QGIS, connect to the SQL database, and then take a look. Obviously, this is a PostGIS database, so user can just consume it directly from native client, and then they can see their data. This is one I created earlier. If I open up my attribute table, you can see this one was one I created earlier, being updated, obviously. And then everything you change here will obviously be reflected from the map plot observer as well. So this should be a very powerful tool for the admin user or more advanced user to do analytics to the database.